For me, back in Hawaii, where I was born and raised, being fairly on the small side, I got introduced to judo. That was my first martial arts around the age of 13. Being at a church, the basement is what we use as our training center. Close to it was my elementary school. Next to it was a Waikea social settlement. And they had Aikido. There was an Aikido class. There was a Kendo class. And so we were young kids watching them. And they would store some of the equipment in the gymnasium. So we would mess around with the Kendo stuff. So judo was really my first serious training in the martial arts. After graduation in '58, I enlisted in the Army. I went with the 4th All Hawaii Company. People that graduate from high school that year usually had a company enlisted in the Army, and you go as a Hawaii company. I had my training up in Fort Ord. From Fort Ord, I went to Fort Eustis, Virginia. I had my schooling as an aircraft mechanic. After school, I went back to Fort Ord, where it was supposed to have been my permanent station. But the last 13 months of my enlistment, I got called to go to Korea. Korea was considered a hardship tour, and that was only 13 months. While I was in Korea, I picked up the art of Tansudo, Taekwondo. You know how they kind of call it one thing and then they call it both of them is the same. And so for 12 months, I participated in the military supplied a ROC Army major to be the instructor for us. So we had maybe about 15 people, enlisted people. So again, that would be my first introduction to karate. After I came out of the service in '61, I came up to California from Hawaii. I actually enrolled in an aircraft mechanic school, LA Trade Tech. While I was attending LA Trade Tech, one evening, this one sales guy comes around and he's selling like a merchandise club for getting cheap merchandise. And just so happened he mentioned Jimmy H. Wu in El Monte. And so he invited me to come and visit the class. And for me, I got hooked the first time. Jimmy's training was very physical in the sense that it was along the line of kumite instead of kata. We did have kata. We used to call it dance forms. And the way Jimmy would present it to us would be as a form of more of an exercise than a fighting sequence. So I guess the biggest difference would have been the way I was taught the kata or the dance form was that you can never lose, no matter how fast or how slow you are. An example is, if a guy from this side throws a punch, I can actually look at the punch, block it, and he'll never hit me. That kind of concept, compared to you threw a punch, I do my technique. That would be the daily training more than the dance forms. I trained with him for a while, all the way, getting my black belt and all that. The Almonte School, and this is kind of not so much boasting about it, but it got to the point where Jimmy never used to come on Wednesdays. And all the lessons come from this one book that his great, 5 generations got the book from the Shaolin monastery that all the lessons are from. The biggest thing I got from Jimmy, the most important thing was that, you can only do so much from the top of the man's head or the person's head to the bottom of his foot. Everything in between, you can call it karate, you can call it kung fu, you can call it taekwondo. If you're gonna punch to the heart, you punch into the heart. So what happened was every Wednesday, Jimmy would say, create a lesson and give it to the class. He wasn't around, but this is his instruction to me. So knowing the science and physics behind most of the moves, you can almost come up with some kind of sequence that Jimmy never taught. Some of it he already taught, but the sequence is the key thing, right? How you get from point A to point B. And this is what I was sharing with the students. So I was the guy that given what I would consider at that time the $40 lessons. And that's what we used to call it, the $40 lessons. There was a falling out between me and Jimmy. And the falling out was that I was asked by Inside Kung Fu to do a cover story. So I got shot for the cover by George Fung. He did the photographing as well as wrote the story. Well, unbeknownst to me, Jimmy H. Wu had an article in the same magazine. And I really didn't look at it that it was bad. But Jimmy didn't like the idea that he was second fiddle to a student. Because when I took the magazine to show the class or the studio people, Jimmy just blew up. So we had a falling out. I kind of went on his blacklist. So then I decided I had enough time to be an instructor, so I decided to leave the organization. Still teaching Kung Fu Sun Tzu. I had enough lessons, wrote down all my lessons, wrote down all my dance forms. So I had accumulated a lot of information that I could pass on to students. And I thought it was still enough to be a legitimate Kung Fu Sun Tzu school and represent it well. Another black belt from Jimmy H. Wu, Tony Felice, also joined. So both of us opened up a school in East LA. Yeah. And we were there a good while. I'd say over 40 years, I guess. So I go there, and they said, who you? I told them my name. You're not on the list. I said, yeah, Jimmy H. Wu sent me. He couldn't make it, so I'm his student. I'm taking his place. And just so happened, David Chow was the technical advisor there. I don't know if you know David Chow. Yeah. Anyway, for some reason, he recognized me. I didn't know David Chow at that time. But he goes, oh, okay, introduce myself. Yeah, okay. He goes, explain to him, Jimmy sent me, he's not coming. He goes, oh, that's fine. He can stay and take his place. And that's how I actually got my first TV role on Kung Fu series. Yeah. I was lucky enough to participate in a movie. The movie was Killer Elite. And the way I got on board, there was another student, Jimmy's student, calls me up and says, Gerald, I need to borrow some of your weapons because I'm going on an interview for a movie. And I says, I'll tell you what, where my weapons go, I go. So he goes, yeah, that's fine. Both of us can go to the interview together. So we go to Samuel Goldwyn's studio up in Hollywood. I bring my weapons and we do different things, hand to hand, and then we do some weapons. And one of the things that I have is I concealed a blowgun in a piece of bamboo, about 3.5 feet, 4 feet long, that shoots darts. Anyway, I carry my darts in a 120 cigarette hot cover. I can carry 8 of them in there. So this guy says to me, hey Gerald, let's show Sam Peckinpah. I'll hold the pillow while you shoot the dart. And in the back of my mind, I said, if you're dumb enough to hold the pillow, I'm going to shoot the dart. So I get my walking stick, get a dart, put it in me. He holds that thing up, hit the pillow. Wow. And then I showed some other deals, but that was one of the things that we demonstrated to Sam Peckinpah. To this day, I think for me, it's real funny. You know, it's like, I could have missed. Not really. I was that good. Right? Yes. Now, after doing Killer Elite, and you know, there was many big people big name people in it. One of the double for Mako is also a stuntman and a coordinator. Right after shooting Killer Elite, I think it was the ending part of the year, he's coordinating a B movie. It was called Anderson's Navy or something like that, and this is the first time I started working with a lot of the pinup girls. So it was like the waves, the female Navy personnel, and I went in as a self-defense instructor. So this guy says, hey, I got a gig for you. I say, yeah, okay. But you know, before you come to the set, I want you to stop at Home Depot, pick me up 4 slabs, 2-inch thick, must be about 8 inches, or maybe about 18 inches long. Pick up 4 of those cement slabs. And I said, okay, I can do that. We get on the set and he says, I need for you to break it with your head. And I says, you know, don't we have props? You know, something that might give. He goes, oh, don't worry, we can scuff it and it'll break just like that. So naturally, he's trying to scuff it up and it's not working. And now we're getting ready to shoot the scene. And okay, I'm game. So I'm doing my thing, getting ready, prepping for my headbutt to break the brick. So I did. 1 take, broke the brick. All I ended up was a big strawberry right here. Chuck Norris's brother, Aaron, I met on a movie prior to Octagon called Charlie Chan and the Curse of the Dragon Queen with Angie Dickinson and a bunch of celebrities, big celebrities. Peter Ustinov played Charlie Chan. They had the Asian people protesting that Peter Ustinov wasn't Asian and playing the part of Charlie Chan. So I was called to help out as a bodyguard. Anyway, that was the connection between Aaron Norris and Chuck Norris working the Octagon. Yeah. This is a project that, for me anyway, was a part in the movie. Good stuff, bad stuff, everything included in this project. And the reason I say that is that I went with Sensei Robago. He actually got me the part in this movie. He worked with the producer, director in previous movie. So anyway, I got the part. Zadar was another one that Richard Robago worked with on another project for David Huey. So we kind of knew each other. Amir actually let me do a lot of my own choreography and also help out. Matt really wasn't a martial art type of person, very athletic though, so it was easy to work with him. So some of the things that we did was right there on the spot, no rehearsal except for the day of the shoot. Scripts was kind of here and there. Today you come in and they give you 4 pages of what we're going to shoot, kind of deal. And again, it's the nature of a B movie, I guess. So for me, it was fun. I can almost ad-lib what I wanted to do. So again, it's another one of those journey down the road type of projects, and it was fun. I mean, we had things to laugh about. When we had to work hard for the fight scenes, we did. So it's another project that, you know, I enjoy doing. Big Trouble in Little China. Boy, there's a lot of stories to tell you. And it all started again with an audition, and cattle call audition at 20th Century Fox. Okay, so I get this call, hey, there's an audition. John Carpenter wants to see people do martial art. Okay, I take one of my students. I pack up all my weapons. So I throw this kid around, I mean, slam, bam, did all my thing in the martial arts side. Then I take up a few of my weapons, and I personally went to John and says, you know, if you're looking for some ideas, you know, I had this idea. Started out with a martial art type weapon. It's something that looks like a Manriki Gusari, but I have it is in a cylinder where the thing can pop out. Well, from there I said, you know, you can pop out the head of this weapon, but as it goes through the air, the chain's attached to it and legs sprout out. So I had props made out with, looked like a spider leg, and that was catch on. So I'm explaining all this to John. So, okay, you know, they don't tell you whether you get the job or not right away. Okay, thank you, go home. That night I get a call, and Kenny Endoso, he was an assistant coordinator, and he called me. He goes, hey Gerald, we want to use you on this project, so tomorrow can you go to 20th Century Fox prop shop? Yes. So I go there. The guys introduce myself. My name's Gerald Okamura. He goes, yeah, we know. We have your weapon for this movie. And the guy comes out with a big smile on his face, and he hands me 2 gold-plated pistols. And I'm looking at it like, all right, okay, this isn't no martial art weapon, but I'm in the movie. You can suit me up any way you want. You can put anything on me. Okay, then the prop guy said, John wants you to have this gold-plated. That's part of your costume. Oh, by the way, John also wants you to have bandoleros. You have 2 of those. Not only any regular bandolero. John wants you to have bullets the size of an elephant gun. So I don't know if too many people noticed that in the movie or not, but them bullets are big. It won't fit in a 6-shooter. I mean, that was John's idea of having a little laughter in the movie, I guess. So that was my character. And again, working on it, it was one of those where James and the rest of those, James Liu and those guys kind of left us decide. If you partner with so-and-so, you work out a routine, you show it to them whether they like it or not. And that's how we kind of worked around, the fighting stuff. But as far as the movie at that time, the character, it was a character that John created. Okay, so lunch break, this one day, John says, "Come on, I'm going to shoot you in the alley." Okay, fine. I'm there, single on me now. And I said, wow, this is going to be just me. So he said, "What do you want?" He says, "Can you do some kind of gesture before you draw your gun?" And I went, boy, that camera is going to be on me. So I'm going to do a lengthy kata. Not so much the traditional kata, but it's like one of those wow kind of deal, So I'm on screen a lot. Then I come down to the guns. Okay, then John says, "Don't draw yet." You know how those Western guys, they kind of twitch their finger by the gun butt? I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm going to get an insert of that." So this is all John's idea. Now, he created this character. Okay, so that's what I'm real grateful for John. Everybody asked me, "Did you create a character?" I said, "No, John Carpenter was the one that said, hey." The only bad part to all of that, I couldn't be seen, or I couldn't do a lot of the scenes. I would go, they said, "Give me 8 stunt guys." And I would go. And John goes, "You're too recognizable. Go back, drink coffee." So it was limited on my screen time. But again, it's one of those few movies that you cherish. I mean, to this day, the character has come to life. I mean, when I say that, I do a lot of advertising for the character. People will use that draw and that shooting in the alleyway on YouTube. So the character is alive. I mean, 30 years. This year would be 31 years. The character is still alive. El Leon, my friend. I used to look up to him when he used to compete. I used to see him in magazines. I used to read about him. That's how my friendship indirectly with El Leon. It wasn't like, hey, we're good buddies and we hung out. Yeah, I used to read about him in magazine. I used to go to internationals to watch him compete. And one of those days, I actually went up to him and I says, I introduced myself to El Leon, and that's how our longtime friendship started. We've worked together. Again, it's he has a character face that most people know, but don't know his name. They love him in all his movie as the bad guy. He did a fantastic job working on Rapid Fire with that fight scene with Brendan. But see, I have a better story than that. I was cast in a TV project series. The TV series was Knight Rider. The stunt guy says to me, and there was like 6 of us casting for this. And he says, all of you need to ride a dirt bike. And I says, excuse me, I don't ride a bike. And just to be a smart, I said, I need 4 wheels under my butt. It ain't gonna be 2. And I figured, well, I don't have the job, so I left. I got a call that night, I got a call. Hey, we wanna use you. I said, I'm not riding a dirt bike. They go, you don't have to worry. We'll get you a stunt double. Okay, so next couple of days later, I go down to Universal Studio early in the morning. I'm going to wardrobe, pull up my car, get out and getting some stuff out of their backpack or whatever. And guy comes up with his truck with a dirt bike in the back. Guy comes out, Al Leong. Hey, hi Al. I said, you doing this project? He goes, yeah, I got a call last night about 9 o'clock. There's some guy that can't ride a dirt bike. I got a double. And I said, that's me. Al Leong had to double me. Yeah, I guess we have much respect for each other, both in the movie side and in the martial arts side. So yeah, that's a dear friend, dear friend. Sensei Richard Rabago, may he rest in peace, good friend. We had many enjoyable get-together, martial arts side, movie side. We taught different arts, but I think we respected each other's art for what it was. Emphasis for him was kata, I would think, more than kumite. Seemed like he put the katas first and then kumite second. Earlier I mentioned that Jimmy was kind of the opposite. And yet, we respected each other's opinion on the martial arts as a whole. Tried to stay away from all the politics behind the martial arts. We did a lot of things together in the sense that some of it related to the martial art. We used to go to tournaments together. He started doing the tournament circuit way before me, going with his students and all of that. You know, trying to talk about Richard is, I don't want to say hard. There's many things that were super good. A lot of things that were funny in the sense that what happened when he and I go out together. Yes, I do miss him. Let me just get on the happy side. This is getting a little bit too sad for me. Here's a story that you might enjoy. I'm going to share with you. I was cast on G.I. Joe, the movie, the first one. And I played the hard master, whatever that is. It's a character that's in the comic book. Okay. I was supposed to train Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow when they were young. Sensei Richard was cast as one of the instructors under my umbrella, so to speak. Okay, so even way back in the Big Trouble days, he was background, I was stunts. Background people had to park outside the studio, so naturally I pick Richard up, he drives in with me. He goes to my trailer and we share my trailer. Okay. So again, he's considered background in G.I. Joe. Background people parks 5 miles away at a church parking lot and they get bussed in. I pick Richard up, he drives in with me, we go straight inside, close to my trailer. Okay, so we go down. He and I walk, we meet up with the PR guy, the PA, the production assistant, and he says, "Oh, you must be Gerald Okamura." Yeah. I said, "You have a trailer for me?" "Oh yes, this is your trailer." So naturally, Richard's following right next to me, right behind me, and we drop our stuff up in the trailer, and the guy says to us, "You can go for breakfast. Go ahead and get your breakfast." So, okay, he and I go. Cast and crew have a special compared to background. Background don't have all the luxury. They have buffet style. We can order what we want. Okay, so we eat breakfast. We head back to the trailer. Now here's a guy in charge of 75 background people. And he says to Richard, "Are you background?" Richard goes, "Yes." He goes, "Okay, I want you to go get your wardrobe. Get your wardrobe, come back here." And they have a canvas, a 4x4, and he says to Richard, "This is your dressing room. Get your wardrobe and you can change in there." Richard, without breaking a smile, and says, "Oh no, I have a trailer." And the guy says, "What?" Richard says, "I have a trailer." The guy goes, "Show me." So he walks all the way to my trailer and he goes, "You can find me right here. This is my trailer." And the guy didn't know what to say. Richard goes in, I go in, and okay. So that's one of the funny parts, right? We get ready to go on the set, and the guy said, "Okay, all you background guys, get in the van." And again, I'm standing out there. And didn't have many principals. It was just me and the 2 kids, Snake Eye and Storm Shadow, kid time. So 3 principals. So we big shot. So when the guy says to background guys, "Head for the van, they're going to take you to the set." And the guy comes to Richard and he goes, "Get in the van." Richard goes, "No, I'm not going in the van." The guy says to him, "How do you expect to get to the set?" He goes, "I have a golf cart. I'm going to ride with Gerald." That's what we did. We jumped in the golf cart. He jumps in, I jump in, and away we go. That was the fun stuff that me and Richard used to pull. Yeah. There's words of wisdom and there's words of wisdom. We all know that. One of the words I want to share with all of you is you need respect. Respect for your fellow man. Beginners, advanced, masters, whatever. Respect. The other word I want to share with you is you have to be humble. Be humble. And when I talk about being humble, if you try to put yourself on a pedestal, you need to defend that. Every single day you need to defend yourself, staying on the pedestal. If you rely on people around you that put you on the pedestal, they will keep you there. Now, other words like self-confidence. Yes, you need self-confidence. When and how do you address self-confidence? Whether you're studying today or you've been a 20-year practitioner. We all know that the martial arts in the wrong hands and the application of the martial arts applied in the wrong way can be dangerous to you and the people around you. So if you combine respect and the word humble along with the word confidence, I think if you understand and put these things in a basket, confidence, confidence, confidence. Yes, you need that. But be humble. Be humble and respect your fellow man. Now, what weapon is the best in the martial arts? I always use this example. The mind is the most powerful weapon that you can carry with you because it's there with you all the time, 24/7. But along with that, we go back to being respectful and the word humble and self-confidence. So when I share this with you, it's how you perceive these little words. It's words. Respect, humble, self-confident. Heroes, when we talk about heroes, to me the heroes are the martial art instructors. They are the ones that teaches student from ground zero. Get a good foundation and you can go as high as you want. So for me, martial art instructors are big heroes.